Hello everybody and welcome back to Combe Valley Campers. Since we have fitted the interior and the bed and we've done, what, how many trips in it now?
2.
We've done 1 European trip.
No, 2 European trips.
2 European trips. We've been round Europe all summer. We did lots of Poland. And then we've recently come back from our trip to Poland for Christmas, where we did some snowboarding and skiing and just having a good time over there. And what we've realised is, with all the weight inside the camper van and some bigger wheels and tyres, we've got to make some improvements.
We do, yes. We need to go up.
What we've decided is, we are going to turn this van from standard to swamper in just 1 day, and we'll show you how to do it. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsors, Howden's Modified Van Insurance. That's right, A-Plan are now Howden's. They still do exactly the same in that they will insure your van from the time you buy it until you completely convert it into a camper van and beyond. And if you want an exclusive rate on your next policy, please mention Combe Valley Campers and they will sort you out. So as mentioned in the intro then, with the combination of my wife's luggage, my girl's luggage and a big dog.
And your luggage.
Yeah, all right.
2 snowboards.
Yeah, basically we experienced some scrubbing on the back of the van, which is why we're going to go for the new SoLow LFT kit from Transporter HQ. I'm going to go into that further a little bit later. And we know it all looks really nice and shiny, but we have got a very good reason to upgrade the brakes. We were on a trip in Wales in the summer.
In October, yes.
Yeah, October. We were fully loaded. It was wet and we experienced some quite significant brake fade. Obviously it's a heavier vehicle. We were fully loaded, and when you're going up and over the mountains in Wales, experiencing brake fade, you're going to need an improvement. So I spoke to Andy at Transporter HQ. Thank you very much, Andy. He got me in touch with the guys at Nutexa Brakes, and they have supplied what you've got in front of us, or what you can see in front of us. There are some uprated discs and pads, and what they also offered us was a set of T32, I'm just checking with my fact checker there, T32 front calipers. So we're going from a 308mm disc to a 340 brake disc. So we've gone for a big brake kit with the improved discs and pads. Again, we'll talk about them a bit later, but I cannot wait to get this done. You're looking forward to it because you don't want the scraping on the back anymore, and you want the improved braking because you drive like rally driver. So
plus I like the look,
and it's going to look fantastic. So we've got all hands on deck today. We've already prepared by painting the front calipers. We got some new replacement rear calipers because of our time constraints. The ones that are on it are completely fine. So Mick, who you'll see later, has stripped these down, masked them up, painted them in this Ferrari red brake paint, which is fantastic. The other option was like a neon yellow, and we weren't going to go for that. So that's our option there. It looks fantastic. We can't wait to get them on. I think without further ado, let's start tearing this van apart.
Yep.
Get straight on it. And I think what we're also going to do today is do an oil change too, because it's always good to change your oil. Costs very little and keeps the maintenance up on your car, right?
Yeah.
Super. Let's get on it. Like I said before, we've got a day to do this. So the boys, we've got Ross here, Mick's the other side. They're going to get the van straight away up on the lift. But before we do that, I'm just going to take some measurements. So between the center of the hub, and we'll talk about these beautiful wheels and tires later as well. Between the hub, center of the hub and the wheel arch, that is 430 mil. And at the front, we have 445 mil. What I'll also do very quickly is just take a measurement. So that's 430 and 445. I'm going to take a measurement to see how level we are actually, because we know the van's dipping down at the back. You might find when you're converting a van that the back might dip down because of all the weight of the bed, the batteries, the interior, whatever you might have. We have already actually fitted a set of 15mm spring spacers from Transporter HQ in the back in an effort to raise it up. But we definitely need the lift kit for what we plan on doing with the van. But let's get a measurement of the van on the level now, and then let's see how much it changes by the time we finished our kit. Now, to the top of this seam on the body, that is 320mm there. And at the back, that's interesting. That says 350. That's 20mm higher at the back. Just, well, that's obviously the spacers. That's the spacers, obviously, showing the difference there. But obviously, once you've got 2 extra people in the back plus all the luggage, this thing dips down so low. It's got the old Carolina squat going on. So there's our measurements. We've got, what did I say, 350 at the back here, 320 at the front, and then a 430 and a 445 on their arches respectively. Brilliant. Okay, so let's lift this up. We're going to tear the wheels off. The first thing we're going to do is remove the rear caliper carriers. Then Mick is going to go straight next door to get them prepped and painted so they can match the actual calipers themselves. And yeah, let's just get on it, start tearing it down and smashing it, and we will talk about it as we go. We haven't got a lot of time. So in an effort to make this a speedy process, rather than whip off the rear calipers and the carriers in one day and then try and paint and prep them in one day, I actually bought a set of replacement calipers, but it didn't come with the actual carriers themselves. So what we've done, we've whipped these off. Mick's now going to take them straight away over into next door where he's going to prep them and paint them. We've already got a little booth heating up. So when it comes to actually getting these on there and proving, we should hopefully get them done by the end of the day, and these will be the last things we fit. So we're hoping to make that look like that. So not only are we upgrading to a bigger 340 disc and a T32 brake caliper, Nutexa have also provided us with these rather funky looking HEL or HEL braided brake lines. Now, we couldn't get any for the rears in time, but they will be replaced. But a braided brake line will maintain your performance over time. They don't flex or expand or compress like a regular rubber line. So if you are looking for extra braking performance, an upgrade such as a braided line is a very, very good idea. Again, this is available from Nutexa. And when it comes to any of these Nutexa bits, please take a look at the link below where you'll find links to actually purchase these kits, be it a smaller or larger disc brake kit. What Ross is actually doing this second is fitting these up before he fits them. Because we're changing brake lines and calipers, etc., it's going to be better for him to just offer this up and swap the brake lines straight away. Saves a bit more effort on the bleeding later on. A little bit. So yeah, these are looking absolutely fantastic and I can't wait to see them on. There we go. Standard spring, standard rubber boot that's seen 100,000 miles. And the 15mm spacer that we had in there before, as well as the top rubber. We don't have a new one of those, do we? Nope. Well, that'll be something we need to change. Right, so that is the rear caliper carriers. What have you done to them?
So we wire brushed them all off, got as much brake dust as we can get off of them, degreased them, and cleaned them up ready for priming.
Nice, and you're going to get straight on that?
Yep.
Lovely job. All right, man. Well,
Okay.
hit it. We'll have a look at it in a bit.
Okay.
Cheers, man. So we're about halfway through the day.
Yep.
Just stopped for a spot of lunch. You've gone at it.
Yeah.
I had to shoot
yeah,
out real quick, and we'll discuss that in a second. But whilst I was away, or at least what have you achieved so far?
So the front. So I've taken the whole shock and hub assembly off for ease mainly because they are the pinch bolt hubs. Anyone who's ever done it yourself, you're trying to get something lower than it can and it doesn't, so easier, just take the whole lot off in one go. A bit
the
easier.
Whole hub assembly, shock, spring,
everything, yeah.
everything. Right.
A little bit easier because we'd already stripped the brakes off it, so a bit lighter, a bit easier to manhandle. So then we can also build the lot back up on the table and then put it all back in and then reassemble the brakes back on it as well. On the rear, I've taken off the rear shocks, springs, I've changed the rear calipers as well, so that's basically ready for the new bits to go back on.
Yeah. And then we're just waiting on that last bit that Mick's been busy painting.
Yep.
So that will complete the look. It was working fine. It just wanted we just wanted to match it in colour.
Yeah, basically.
And I got sent down to our local Volkswagen van centre, which is JCB in Eastbourne.
Yep.
One of the main reasons was the little rubber bushings, rubber stops. I can't even remember what they call them at Volkswagen. This sits under the spring. If you saw earlier, as I removed it, the bottom rubber just looks like that. Now, whilst we were away in Poland over Christmas, the van clicked over to 100,000 miles. So it's no surprise really that it looks like that.
No.
Plus we had loads of weight, plus we had a spring spacer in it. So for the sake of £8 a piece, it's worth running down to Volkswagen to go and get some of these. And if you need them in the future, and if you're wondering, that is part number 7 Echo 0 511 150 Bravo, and £8 from Volkswagen. And also we spoke to our local car parts retailer, which is JR, just down the road, because you requested some top mounts. Why?
Yep. Partially because the ones that are on it haven't been changed. Volkswagen's a little notorious for obviously the bearings wearing away. The other side of it is we don't do mechanical work here. So we haven't got a spring compressor, we haven't got what I call the widow makers, the ones that you clamp on yourself, which means...
I might actually have a set,
well,
but
we don't use those. Which would obviously have meant having to buy some to strip the old suspension down to get the new top mounts, to build the new ones up, so on and so forth. It's a mixture of sort of best practice as well as convenience. We don't have to do all that to make the new ones, but also we change them in the process. If we've got new everything else, you might as well have the new top mounts as well. And again, with suspension work, always in pairs. So we've had a pair of rear rubbers, we've had a pair of top mounts. We did pre-order a pair of drop links because they're notorious for not coming apart and you have to cut them off. Luckily, these ones actually are in good nick and they were reusable.
So we can send them back.
So they can go back.
So for the sake of £8 a side for those, and
I think
what,
these
20
are
odd quid?
£24 each.
So yeah.
And they're actually Febby Bilstein, which is the same as the shocks that are going on
So we're
anyway.
continuing the brand all the way through.
Yep.
Wicked. And as you may have seen, we've actually started building up one of the front. So we're actually removing the whole old assembly off. We don't have to use spring compressor or anything.
Nope.
This one has already been preset at an adjustment. What's that about? Would you call it 10 mil up?
Yeah.
So we have a look at that one you've just built up. So these coils, or the coilovers, adjustable coilovers should I say, they've basically been designed to work like a lowering spring, a lowering coilover, in that you can adjust this threaded section here using the supplied tool, and it's a very cool supplied tool. It's been laser etched with Bilstein, but on one side is the Allen tool to be able to undo a grub screw in here And then when you push it through the other side, that's actually a locating, what would you call that? Just a locating point, pin, to put in there, and then you can actually start turning the coil to adjust your height. Are we going to leave it at this height for now?
We'll start off at the 10 mil.
Start off there.
Yeah. I mean, the gain out of this exercise obviously is not for the swamper look as such. It's because you drove it and tested it and the tyres were rubbing when you were loaded. So we just need to gain that bit of space as opposed to sit it up in the air like a roller skate.
I mean, Dom is quite concerned with how it looks.
Yes.
So she wants it to be higher, which is why we're doing it again.
I mean, the difference with, I think it's the, was it LFT, isn't it, lift kit, is the normal coilovers, the highest, or generally the highest point of the coilover is the standard height of the vehicle.
Yes.
And then you can work your way down.
Yeah.
Whereas the lift ones are obviously done the opposite way. The standard point is the lowest on these, and then you work your way back up.
The lowest point on these, according to the website, is 10 millimetre higher than standard. And then the max adjustment is 40 mil lift.
Yeah.
So it's quite big. So let's say we're 10 mil up already. If the lowest setting is 10 mil higher than stock, then we're potentially 20 mil lift there, which might be enough.
Yeah.
Because we're not making it a vehicle that's completely inaccessible.
The fronts were never particularly the issue. We had the max tyre size you can use on a standard suspension setup. It was the rears, obviously, because you've got a rock and roll bed, you've got all your baggage, all your, well, in your case,
Clayton.
your snowboard, your Clayton, your everything else. So the back end was just sitting that little bit lower. Although it had the help of spaces in the back already, I think we'd then gone a bit past that point of the weighting
on
as
standard
well.
springs, and it's not like it's a T32 with the uprated suspension.
No, it's the middle run.
Points to note as well, this isn't the only lift kit available from Transporter HQ. I think they do 4 now. I think this is the newest variation. They do a set which is like a 20 mil, they do a 35, and then they do, I can't remember what it's called now, it's the Mr. B or something. It's a 40 mil lift kit.
Right.
And we don't need that.
No.
So this is their newest iteration. It comes with the shocks and springs as a kit with the adjustment, and it's Bilstein all round, which is rad stuff anyway.
Yeah.
German made.
Yeah, I mean, all you need for this is the bit of clearance. You don't go off-roading in it. It's not like you need that kind of ground clearance. You need the weight clearance, that's the difference. I mean, it's a T30, even fully loaded, that's not 3 tonne. It's nowhere near 3 tonne.
Yeah.
But you just need that little bit of help because you've got the bigger tyres.
So I'm happy with everything I've seen so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what it sits at. Again, these have already been pre-adjusted to a point, and that sits in the top shock point.
Yep.
And we're putting the rubber on top of that as well, so it'll be the rubber, then this.
Yes.
Yeah, the rubber, then this, then the spring, then the new rubber mount in the bottom, and this will just get bolted once the hub has been bolted into the bottom.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, correction is, it comes with its own new rubbers. So the old ones...
Oh, okay, so we're losing those entirely.
Yes, so the old ones are shaped and designed that the coil sits within it. And obviously you're then adding that spacer as well, which isn't going to locate into there. So they come with their own new ones.
Super. So, rubber, adjusting collar, spring, rubber.
Yep.
They'll just get slotted in. And then obviously we've got the uprated Bilstein, SoLow brand, LFT model kit. And that's been designed for, I'm trying to get my words out, just improve ride and comfort.
Yes.
Improve ride and comfort, and then obviously the height adjustment, same with the front, improve ride and comfort for a lifted vehicle. And then we've got the lift on it too.
Yeah.
So, are we doing the shocks and springs first and then the brakes after, yeah? You're
Yes.
quite happy to do that?
Yep.
Wicked. What we'll do, I think we'll flip to a bit of B-roll of us building up the front shock assemblies and chucking them on. And then we'll get onto the brakes. In front of me then, you will see the new discs, pads and fitting parts from Nutexa. Now, Who are Nutexa and why haven't you ever heard of them before? Now, Nutexa as a business have actually been running since the 1960s, and they've provided brake linings and friction surfaces such as clutches, drums and all sorts of stuff for what they quote as off-highway vehicles like cranes and agriculture and stuff like that. They then moved into the MOD side and they provided brake linings, friction surfaces, etc. for MOD vehicles, and they have done for a number of decades. I don't know the exact date, but I know they've had the MOD contract for a very long time. So they're a very trusted service. Also, they provide OE-specific brakes and parts for the likes of Rolls-Royce and other manufacturers too. In the last few years, however, they've started concentrating on performance brake parts, mainly for VWs like ours. And in front of us, you will see the carbon steel grooved and dimpled discs and the uprated pads. Why have we gone for these? Our pads and discs needed doing anyway. And if you can replace them, why not upgrade them at the same time? When we found that we had braking fade when we were on a trip fully laden in Wales, I rang up Andy, like I said before, from Transporter HQ, and asked him, who do we go to for brakes? He put me in touch with the guys over at Nutexa, and they suggested that we can either do a disc and pad kit for your front and rear discs, or if you'd like one of our pre-loved calipers that they used to have on display from a T32 van, you can upgrade them in terms of caliper size. They've gone from a single pot to a twin pot caliper, and we've gone for an increased size of disc as well. And so this is what we've got. The benefits of these discs and pads over a standard is that they've got the dimples and grooves, so they're going to be dissipating heat and improved cooling into the disc. They're the carbon steel, so they'll be harder wearing as well. And also, when they're used in conjunction with these pads, the brake dust is reduced incredibly. And that's one of the main things that you'll find with commercial vehicles especially. They don't always use the highest quality or performance parts, which means you just get a lot of brake dust. And when it comes to nice vans with nice wheels on, vans with detailed wheels as well, it's always a bit of a pain when you're just constantly cleaning those wheels. You can do 10 miles down the road and your wheels are covered in brake dust. So improved stopping, improved efficiency, lower brake dust. It's just a win-win all round. I'm very, very happy with what we've got. Again, increased from a 308 to a 340 disc, improved from a T30 to a T32 caliper, and all the hardware to go with it. So I think without further ado, let's get that suspension all dialed in and let's chuck in these brakes. As you can see, we now have the very, very cool Nutexa grooved and dimpled front discs on in the right orientation with the new T32 or pre-loved T32 calipers that have been lovingly restored and painted by Mick. That's come in the red caliper paint. Pads are in, they've got their got new clips, new fastenings, new hardware throughout. We're now going to bleed the system. We're going to do the majority of the work with the air bleeder, and then we'll go back in, stomp on the pedal with your feet, and then we'll finish up. And then once that's all done, we'll do a final check, final nut and bolt check, chuck the wheels on, and give it a test drive. We dropped the van down, took it for a quick spin, locked up the brakes a couple of times, just bedded them in a little bit, and we're not quite happy with the ride height. So what were we before, Ross? 22.5?
From body to top of
So
adjuster.
from the actual chassis of the van to the top of the adjuster was 22,
22.5 mil.
and now we're at
32.5.
32.5. So we've just raised it another 10
Yeah.
on the thread. Now that might actually translate to something different on the height of the vehicle. We don't know yet, but we've just done 10 mil there. So you're quite happy with that. Right, so what we can do is pump that back up, and we found it's easier to undo the shock. So you can release the tension on the spring. Right, there's a point to note as well, when you're mounting these shocks, this lower mount here is actually off center. So if you swap it around the wrong way, your shock will rub up against this lower arm. So you need to make sure that this mount here is actually closer to the lower arm, and then it will give you more space on the shock body. The thing we haven't quite discussed is, sorry, you can hear my dog in the background barking, are the wheels. The wheels we had on this originally were the leftovers from the 2K T5 project. And however nice they were, they didn't belong to this van. So once again, we spoke to the guys at Transporter HQ and Navis, and Dommy decided that the Mac ATs in a 17-inch in the bronze finish were the ones for her. We had to wait a little bit of time because they were out of stock, but they were definitely worth the wait. So they're a 17 by 8.5, and we decided to go with quite possibly the biggest tyre you can fit on a T5 T6 without major surgery, which is the BF Goodrich Trail Terrain. Now we've used the all-terrain KO2s before, but in reality we do 99% of our driving on road, and we want the ability to be off-road. So which is why we went for the Trail Terrains, which is a more road bias and less aggressive tyre than the all-terrain KO2s. And these are in, if I can see the number, a 245/65/17. We love them. We absolutely love them to bits. Obviously we've just been over to Poland in the snow, and they performed faultlessly. We did 1,500 miles, I think. We did every day in the snow in Poland. We would take the van up to the piste, it would be carrying our snowboards and everything else, and they are absolutely a fantastic tyre. Great on the road, less noisy than the all-terrain KO2s, and yeah, we're generally very happy. Now be warned, and this is one of the reasons we've raised it, is that you do get a touch of scrubbing at the back. Now, we might have to do a little bit of surgery on the inner wheel arches, but I think with great wheels comes great compromises sometimes, and if it wears a little bit on the inner arches, I don't mind. But yeah, the Mac ATs in the 17-inch bronze, absolutely beautiful wheel, and I'm so glad we went with the red calipers as well. I think that sets it off perfectly, and clad in the Trail Terrain tyres, I think it's a wicked combo. Now I think what we'll do, we'll close this up and get Dommy's final opinion, because that is the most important. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
What do you reckon?
No, it looks cool. It looks nice. I need to wash it now.
It is filthy.
Yeah, it is filthy.
It is filthy. We have actually
Yeah.
cleaned it since we've been back from Poland, but the roads and the weather has just been terrible. But, you happy with the height?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're happy with the brakes? And you approve of the red?
I do approve of the red. I think it goes really well. Yellow would be too yellow because obviously of the writing here.
Yeah.
It goes with the YouTube sign. No, it's lovely.
Yeah, it picks up
yeah.
a bit of the red from the rear light cluster.
Yeah.
The little YouTube logo over there. The red just picks up those little highlights.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it. I'm super happy with that. I have taken it for a test drive without your permission. I hope that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the suspension already feels really, really nice. The brakes they're not as responsive as they're going to be because I've only driven it a couple of miles and you need to bed them in. So just be wary of that on your first drive home.
Yeah.
Drive a bit more cautiously.
No pressure.
No pressure. But no, super happy with it. Yeah.
What's next?
Swamper in a day.
What's
So
next?
let's just go over what we've done. We've fitted the SoLow LFT suspension front and back.
Yeah.
So it's Bilstein shocks and springs with the adjusters. We've already adjusted the rear up so it levels out. We need to get a final measurement, Ross. Let's get a final measurement quick.
Standard.
Well, from what it was before, Ross is going to come in. By the way, Ross has done most of the work today. He's done an amazing job. I've gone out ferrying for food and parts and everything else.
We are 475.
475. What were we before? Can you remember?
30.
Yeah, 435.
Yeah.
So is that a 40mm lift?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe we'll rewind back to the video, Ali, and get those figures. So there's our measurements. We've got, what did I say, 350 at the back here, 320 at the front, and then a 430 and a 445 on their arches respectively. And then the fronts, go to the fronts and the sills, if you wouldn't mind.
What was the front? Front was
4.5 something. 4.55?
So from centre of hub to top we are 505.
Wow.
So from floor to ceiling, just over 380.
So 370, 380, and it was 505 at the front.
505.
I'm only repeating what he says just in case you didn't pick up on it. He hasn't got his mic on. But yeah, I'm super chuffed. Really, really happy. So yeah, new suspension. We've gone for the Nutexa carbon steel brakes. We've uprated the fronts from a 308 to a 340 with the twin pot calipers. Super upgrade. And Ross managed to fit in an oil change at the same time as well, which is brilliant. I'm super happy. Super happy. Now let's go and abuse this. But
Yes.
what's next? What's next for you? What do you want to see? We've got some sidebars to fit.
Yes, sidebars. We are getting some really cool lights.
Some new lights.
Some new lights.
We'll keep that under wraps for now, but some new lights.
New lights. There will be some changes to the van, but we will take you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, after traveling, we know what we want now.
Yeah.
So there will be some cool collaborations with some cool people. I think that's it.
Yeah. It's been a great one. So if you've made it to this far, to the end of the video, thank you. If you are interested in any of these parts, please make sure to head down to the link to the description where we've got links for the suspension, the brakes, the wheels, the tyres, everything. It's all down there. And I want to say last thank you, well, a couple of last thank yous, Ross, Mick, and the rest of the team who have made this possible today, because we've all been working like crazy. Ali behind the camera, thank you. Nutexa for wanting to play with us. Transporter HQ, Navis, Bilstein. That's about it, isn't it?
For now.
For now. Brilliant. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. From standard to swamper in a day. I think we've achieved what we wanted to do, right?
Yeah, well, I need to drive it and I will let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been a long day. It's freezing.
Yeah.
Time to go home. Brilliant.
Definitely.
Thanks, everybody. If you do like the video and you do like this van and you want to see the whole build process, have a look up here. There is a playlist, and have a look in the description. There's a whole playlist for this van. There's also 250 videos plus of how to build your camper, conversion, how-tos, everything else. And we do lives on Sunday to answer your questions, which is really fun, actually. I really like that. Wicked. Please like the video if you liked what you've seen. Please consider subscribing and hit the bell so you can get notified for the next video. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.